Well, here's our diary recording for October 13th. Not much to see that's beautiful, but it is fun to see how much the annuals fill in. So over here, the only annuals we have left are the two grasses, the purple fountain grass, and then we have new plants that I planted. Ironically, this one has a little bloom. So they don't look great. They were just transplants, got those ones on clearance, all the echinacеas. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe. And I have plastic markers in the ground just so in the spring, if they don't come up, I'll remember where I planted them. Like in there. And once these fountain grass are gone, and if they do come up, I'll probably space them better. And then the little green seedlings everywhere, the Chinese forget-me-not that I let self-seed everywhere with a little assist. I do sprinkle them where I want them to fill in. And we have a big rainstorm coming, so I kind of wanted to capture things before all the leaves bury it. This Vista bubblegum still hanging in there. I've left it, just we've had a lot of bee activity still. They haven't gone to bed. We're not at peak foliage yet, but still things are looking pretty. A little bit of color. I have pulled a lot of the annuals because we have had a couple of frosts. But I do hope these hostas that were chomped by the deer come back. So over here, other impatiens. This one impatient seems to be protected enough that it is hanging in there. It's kind of amazing what the canopy of the evergreens can do. Oh, chipmunks calling their people and the dog going to find them. So I spread some lamb's ear over here. I'm probably gonna remove it from the other border in the rock wall. It's just such a thug. But I might just keep managing it by cutting it back. And the voles are still around. I have got to put more repellent down. I was very diligent September, but they're still on the lawn. Oh, these poor hostas, they look so sad. So my goal is going to be less annuals back here to really let the perennials shine, particularly the hostas, if I can keep them safe from voles and deer. This beauty. Oh, just love her. This is my June spirit. Shiny, strong, seems to resist the bugs really well. This one should have more variegation. It doesn't. One Last Dance is this hosta. We'll see. If it's not super variegated, I may move it, get rid of it. I really enjoy the different colors. This was the yellow lemon jade sedum. I thought I would like it. I thought it would be more of a pop. It just looked kind of dull. So I may move that one out front with the other autumn joys. I hope the Aurelia comes back. I am really enjoying the location of that in the back. Black-eyed Susans, I gotta keep those in check. They're just kind of the rogue ones. This geranium gets an A+ though. I have really become a fan of these hardy geraniums. The pink one over there by the side of the house has always done well. I have a feeling this will take over. Yeah, I think I'm seeing some loose vole soil. Oh yeah, they're still tunneling right along this landscape timber. Jerks. Really enjoyed the geum. Might add another one next year further down the wall to kind of balance things out. This lady's mantle was another add-on to balance out the ones down at the other end. I hope this hosta comes back because it really was a cute one, colored Hulk. This has always been a small hellebore. It's my dark one. Winter Jewels, Black Diamond. This is the smallest it's ever looked. So it's not looking good. This was a throw-in. We have Cat's Meow Nepeta. Not pretty, clearance plant. I did put one down further by that lemon sedum. Not the greatest spot, but Creeping Jenny, Rockstar. I don't mind that it fills in. Easy enough for me to pull out. So in here I have a few more hardy geraniums. These are the, no, I lied. The pale pink. No, they are hardy geraniums. So hardy geranium over here. I did move the cardinal flower. That was back there. I somehow traipsed right over it. It's not much to look at this time of year. Threw some mulch down just to help a little bit with weeds and add a little bit of matter back here because this is very, very wet in the spring. Snake root was pretty when it did bloom. I hope it comes back stronger, bigger next year. Halcyon, I hope comes back as big as it's supposed to. We'll see. This spirea, I'm tempted to move out front. Not sure yet if I'm going to do that. This is the anemone that blooms in the spring, the pink one. Well, it's more white. I'm sorry, it's not the pink one. The pink ones would be blooming in the fall. I never did get any of those. Deutzia, that's behind this pot. This had an impatient in it. These annuals, barely clinging. Salvia, like I said, we still have had some pollinators, so I'm holding out to the very end. Of course, the coleus bit the dust as soon as it got the slightest hint of frost. And this mum is just the cutest thing I've ever seen. I really enjoyed that color. This is the only fall plant I put in. I just couldn't be bothered. I do have pumpkins, but did not have the energy or ambition to change out fall plants. This also needs to be addressed. I've got to put that last hosta in the ground and pray that it comes back. That was deer eaten. Another really nice surprise is this purple, what is it called? Ageratum. Really enjoyed that. I do want to grow the taller kind, see if I can use it for cutting, but this lower growing one was a real treat. This is slowly being put to bed. I have left a lot up. Marigolds are rocking it. Zinnias finally have succumbed to the powdery mildew. These ones were the last ones I threw in just to see what would happen. Seems they are not at all disease resistant. They kind of grew ugly from the beginning, which is a shame. And their blooms were never symmetrical. So while they're gorgeous colors, they just didn't do very well here. It's kind of funny, the snapdragons look beautiful now. Not a lot of blooming because they're still in the shade, but these guys have come to life a tad. That's been fun. Curious to see what will self-seed. I see a lot of little tiny seedlings. Not sure what it's going to be. I am hoping bachelor's buttons will come back here. It's very much a mess. I obviously haven't taken much time. Got to pull out the cleome. I did pull out a couple of the tithonia, the one that bloomed and the one that did not. And I left this hideous, ugly one along with this hideous, ugly, diseased tree. It just got so tall. It fascinates me that it could get that tall and not really perform. So that will be going. Diseased zinnias. They were great. wish I had put more colors back here. I did over on the side, but I didn't put a lot of variety over here. Not really a fan of these. They're called purple, but they're like dark pink. More into the pastels, because most of my flowers are the pastels, so they just were easier to make bouquets with, like these beauties. There's been bear around town, so I haven't been super ambitious on filling my feeders. I'm doing it here and there, but not keeping it consistent until I know more that the bear has moved on. Not that he's been in our neighborhood, but you never know. There's a lot of woodland behind me. Even when the blooms are gone, this sweet autumn clematis is kind of pretty to look at from afar. Happy the hibiscus bloomed. Next year I think they're going to be a force to reckon with. So I am working a little bit more on rounding this out so it's not just this random strip on the side hill. So cardboard, grass killer, need to get some manure from my parents, and then I will top dress with the higher quality soil conditioners. Marigolds, of course, looking good. The little sedum hedge that I did from cuttings is really kind of cute, and I'm impressed that it worked with minimal effort. This was the self-seeded celosia, and it needs to go. The frost finally got it, but it was pretty for a while. And back here, it looks very odd. I have these perennials, and this is the problem. I get perennials at a deal, or ones that I want, and I don't have a good place for them, so they look silly. So this is the Hidalgo Little Lemon, which I never really used for cutting because the tomatoes gobbled it up, and the foliage never really looked great, and the blooms weren't great for bouquets. Globe thistle, love the plant. Not really sure when I'm supposed to be harvesting it to use in bouquets, so it wasn't the biggest performer. This was its second year. This guy here, that was a transplant from the original patch over by the propane tanks. And this was the Black-Eyed Susan given to me by a friend, which I thoroughly enjoyed, better than my wild beast at the rock wall. Much neater, compact, great to cut. But I gotta figure out what I'm doing with them. I still have a couple of low ground cover phlox that I got at a deal that never have been planted. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I did dig up the dahlia, fingers crossed. Labyrinth survives. I got a few tubers out of it. And these zinnias, not as diseased as the others, but still fun to look at from afar. So this I hope to cover. It's kind of misshapen because this is all wet in the spring. So the fantasy, next year I'll probably spray paint it out a line better, is to kind of make this rounded up to the little arch arbor that I've built, just to have a prettier shape, which means I would have to kind of move those sedum cuttings when I do that, but I have a feeling that will be no problem. And this part still does get wet right down like where the marigolds are. This part's not too shabby, not as wet, but then over there, bird feeder zone, that's all very wet, so I can't really make gardens over there without investing in retooling the landscape. This is all cleaned up for now. I say cleaned up as all the leaves have fallen from this ash tree, whatever kind it is. And then over here, not a lot to look at. Left some annuals for the little buzzy bees, and have dumped some of my pots in the front just to build up the soil because it's not great over here. So these are the plants hanging in there. I really am enjoying the sedum there. Dusty Miller is such a nice compliment. Love the salvia. I should just do more of that. I always say, oh, I'm going to do more of this, and then I can't help myself with the varieties in the spring. Doggy needs to go away for winter. So back here I go again, repeating bad habits. You can see the vole tunnels. Little jerk-offs are moving in to new territories. A stilby, I think that might be a nice foundation plant. We'll see. Yarrow, I have, that one is a yellow one. I don't know how well it'll do with the shade of the hydrangea. And then I added 2 more yarrow over here. These ones are pink. I would like to use them for cutting. That's why I threw them back here, because I don't like it being bare back here. I did move this Millennium Allium from over here. It was basically under the hydrangea because it's so large now. So it's a little more, well, I don't want to say balanced because now they're in a diagonal line, but I plan to put something of interest there. So I kind of like that it's simple. My teeny tiny fall display. And the bumblebee plants still kicking in there. And I just stopped deadheading because it's kind of a never-ending battle. And there's a friend right now. So that's it for October. Lots of work coming next year.